everyone, it's Jean from Inky Owl Studio. Today we're going to be working on part 5 of this cloth folio using mostly Tim Holtz fabric, but other fabrics as well. And so far we have covered doing the cover with the pockets on the inside. We've done the pouch here in the middle. We've done this frame, the framing out of ephemera with a cloth frame. We've done the little journal that fits inside the pouch. We did a slow stitch tag with some batting and a cardstock on the back to write. We did this flip over tag that goes over this belly button with cardstock here and window here and a window in the back for putting in ephemera. And yeah, so this is how far we've come, and it's shaping up really good. Now today, one thing I'm going to focus on today is I'm going to put a little envelope pocket inside here, a place to put things in and store them or whatever. And but the first thing I did is I made a pattern. I made a pattern out of just a piece of paper, scrap paper here, and this is an 11 by 8.5 inch. I cut it down to the width that I want in my journal, and I think in this case it was 6 3/4. Made the strip. I then folded up. I folded into an envelope. So this is sort of my envelope, how I want it to be sitting in here with a closure, and the envelope part. This is how I want it to sit inside. So after I made the pattern or the template, I went ahead and I cut out 2 pieces of fabric. One is for the outside and another one for the lining on the inside. And I cut those 2 pieces out, just like that. Now, I also, okay, we're going to fold this up here, approximately like that. So the flap over the envelope would be approximately like this. Okay, what I want to do, now you can leave it square, nothing wrong with that, but I want to make it a little bit of a curve coming down here. Just a little curve on the flap, because I feel like that would just, I don't know, dress it up a little tiny bit. So once I figured out that this is my flap, I am going to lay it down and just, I think I'll do it on the front side just to make sure this is all even. I'll just lay down this paper plate and kind of shoot for the middle. And again, just like when I cut this out, I did not use a rotary cutter and mat. I just cut it out, just cut around the pattern like that. That's just all I did. I'm not interested in everything being perfect. So if you can see here, I have drawn right here this little moon of a circle, part of a circle right there. And I'm going to cut along there. Oh, and my scissors are over here. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. And I'm just going to cut along that curve carefully, the 2 layers together. And just cut around. And it just gives it a little bit more style. But like I say, it's not absolutely necessary. And it's a gentle enough of a curve to sew on. So even if you're new to sewing, it's a gentle curve. Take it slow and you'll be able to do that. All right, so that's kind of how the flip's going to come over. And the closure for the flip or the envelope is going to be a ribbon coming out of the flap and circle around a button down here. So I'll want to, before I sew all the way around it, I'll want to put that ribbon or whatever I'm using, I'll want to put that in between the two layers. So let's see here. So I'm going to take this as a seam binding, and let me just fold this in half to kind of get a sense of the middle. Right there's the middle, right like that. I'm going to slip it in there. Okay, and pin it like so. Want to make sure that the right side of the fabric, or I should say the wrong sides of each fabric, are together and the right sides are on the outside. Want to make sure you do that. And then just sew all the way around the perimeter of this envelope. Okay, I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I have sewn around the perimeter and I changed this out to a smaller ribbon because the button that I want to use, I really felt that the seam binding might be a little too wide to really go around that button as well as I would like. So I put in a little skinny 1/4 of an inch ribbon. I think this is like $1 at Joann's, a spool of this ribbon, and I use it for lots of stuff. So we've sewn around the perimeter of it, and we have sewn it with the raw edges showing, because that has been how we're doing this journal, with the raw edges out, the frame and everything, because it is a shabby chic journal. And it will unravel a bit, but it will stop at the stitching. And you know, we're not doing it super neat. And I was not super careful in sewing this either, because I wanted to show you, like here, it got a little shifted a little bit here, with the lining shifting somewhat, right? And it caused some little tucks to happen down this area. You know, do not worry about those things. And I just wanted to do this in a way that is no stress at all. So this is going to be the envelope, and now we have to place the button, and the button will be, I'm just thinking about how deep I want this to be. Let me just see here, how much of a flap. Just experimenting with the size of my envelope here and putting this down at the bottom so that we can wrap around it. Okay. All right. I think this is where the fold's going to be. I'm going to mark that fold so that I can remember where it's at here on the inside, just so I can remember where I put that fold at. And then I'm going to get needle and thread. I'm going to stitch my button here below my ribbon. Okay, so let me go do that. So I sewed the button on with a little bit of red pearl cotton, just to give it a pop of color down there. I thought that was kind of cute. And now's the time to do stuff to your envelope that you want to decorate it in some place, some way. You might want to do some slow stitching like we did on this little tag, where you just put little dots of whatever you want to do with embroidery. Maybe that's what you want to do. Of course, it'll show here on the flap, but it's not going to show behind this pocket area. So you can do that there. Maybe you want to sew on some ephemera, and you just want to stitch around it and stitch a little bit here and there, however you want it. So now's the time to do that, because it'll be much easier, you know, outside the journal than when you put it in the journal. And after you've finished it and you're happy with how that looks, so remember where your fold was, you know, where, you know, the size of the envelope that you wanted. All right, so what I might just do is put a pin here at both ends of that fold. Okay, so there's the fold. and get out your journal. And we're going to do just what we did with the pouch, exactly. We're going to put this in here. Probably, and I'm thinking, you know, about 1/4 of an inch from the pouch. Probably should be enough. Yeah, I think that'll be great. And so, and you can also put down, if you want some help with the straight line, you can just take a pencil and make a line down there, and then you'll know where your middle's at. But you can sew down there, and then once you've done that, you're going to put these two sides together along with these two. You're going to pin them. You're going to flip back the other pieces of the journal. So this is already attached. And then you're just going to finish out the sides, exactly what we did with the pouch. All right, and so when you get done, you're going to have a little envelope, and maybe you can put like a writing pen in there, an extra ephemera or notes or whatever you want to put in this little envelope, and you'll be all set. Isn't that cute? I like this idea. Now the reason I came up with the idea was I noticed that my measurements were kind of off here. Okay, yeah, I got a little too far from the middle than I did on this side, and so that's why I'm filling it in, or I thought about the idea of filling it in with this envelope. So if you are going to put an envelope in, you might want to consider making these pockets slightly more narrow than the ones here, just so you have room. And so that would be, that's like a 3/4 of an inch between from the middle over. You might want to leave a little room, a little extra space to put in an envelope if that's what you would like to do. So I am going to go and work on this for a while and stop filming and come back and film later, and you will see how far we get. Okay, I've sewn in along here first, and then I flipped everything back. Make sure to remove your journal if you have it in there, and flipped it all back, and then sewed along these. Now you may, depending on how wide your journal is, you may have to sew this way on one side, turn it around, and sew from here on out. This will be a little bumpy when you put your foot down, and you may not be able to start the needle right at the edge there. You may have to start it a little bit forward, but that's no problem, because you can just go back and hand stitch that if that's what you had to do. So this is probably a little bit more fidgety than sewing the pouch in, just a little bit more, just because you're dealing with a lot more bulk there. But it is in, and I had previously went ahead and added some lace, did some embroidery or stitching along there, these little flowers, little piece of paper ephemera. So I put those in before I sewed the envelope. So there is that. Now, even if, I know before I had previously said about having room between these two places, even if I did not beforehand make room for it, I still think this is still a possibility to get the envelope in. I still think you could do it, even if you had to come over right next to the pocket area. I still think you could do it. Okay, I'm going to end this part today here. I did get somebody that wanted to know how I put in the journal, the papers in the little journal that fits inside, and I did use a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, and just because it's what I usually do, is do a 5-hole, but a 3-hole would be plenty. That would be just as good to do a 3-hole. So that was sewn in by hand. Uh, you know, you might be able to do it by machine. However, don't know, depending on how many papers you put in, you know, that's all. You have to think about that. And I did also end up gluing this little doily to just to the spine, just a little bit to the spine, because I think it would be helpful and it wouldn't be falling off every time you opened up the journal. So that is what I wanted to share on that part of it. And okay, so hopefully we will join you back with part 6, and that part 6 will be the last part of it. We will concentrate on putting on the closure that goes here on the front. So anyways, we will talk to you later. Thanks so much for viewing. Bye.